In this video, I will share with you 3 horrifying cases of what happened to people when they were home alone. I found these stories from around the internet, and I just wanted to say that none of these have happened to me personally, just for any of you out there wondering, so I can't provide you with any details if you have any questions. I can contact the people I found them from and see if I can get any answers out of them for you. However, I just wanted to say that in these 3 horror stories, police have come in handy a lot. I think that the men and women who lay down their life to protect our country should deserve respect and honor, especially in times like these. I just want to say shout out to all the police, all the people watching this video who are police, and all the people whose mom or dad might be a policeman or policewoman, or anyone in the military, or anyone in any emergency first responders. We thank you a lot for your service. It means a lot to me. Now, with this, I would like to begin the story. Story number 1. One night, I was home alone, and I decided I was just sick of sitting around and doing nothing. I called my friends Carlos and Joseph and asked them what they wanted to do. Joseph and I were more the action type and adventurous people, while Carlos was more the type of dude who just wanted to stay home all day and do nothing. Joseph suggested that we did Ding Dong Ditch. We had seen YouTube videos about it and thought it looked fun. I thought it beat staying at home alone, so I decided to go with it. My parents would kill me if they found out I did it, but I still wanted to do it. Carlos wasn't sure, but Joseph and I practically peer pressured him into it. I felt bad, but this happens often. We just want Carlos to go out and do more fun things with us. Luckily, he isn't hard to convince. We decided to meet up in the woods near my house. Fast forward about 45 minutes later, and we were all together. I decided to go ding-dong ditching to a house farther down the street. Both my friends didn't really care since they barely know anyone in this neighborhood. So we head over. I'm up first since I picked the house. Carlos ducks behind a big tree across the street, and Joseph hides in a bush in one of the neighboring houses. I walk up to the house and ring the doorbell like 5 times. Nothing. I waited like 30 seconds, then went up and did it again. Still nothing. At this point, I was about to give up, but tried one last time for good measure. Still nothing once again. I figured they were just out for the night. We left and went down the street. Suddenly, I hear yelling and at least 4 pairs of rapid footsteps behind us. I turn and see 4 men running, and one yells, "I will kill you, you little a-holes." One of the men starts to pull out a knife. At this point, we are all full-on sprinting down the street. We get ahead around a corner and dive into a bush. The men sprinted past our hiding spot. We waited a solid 10 minutes. Then, we decided that the coast was clear. We got up, and we full-on ran back to my house. I locked all the doors and windows, and the 3 of us just sat around and collected our thoughts. Eventually, both of them had to go home, and I was all alone. I wish the story ended there, but of course it didn't. That night, still home alone, I was watching Lord of the Rings while eating popcorn on my sofa when I heard a metallic thud sound from outside. I paused the movie to get total silence. Honestly, I somehow managed to forget what happened earlier, but the second I heard that, it all came back. I heard a second thud. I then turned off the TV to get total darkness in order to hear and see better, to not give off my position. I got up and crept over to the back porch where I heard the noises. I silently stared out into the night for at least 10 seconds. Then I reached for the light switch to go outside, flicked it, and froze. I saw a tall man just peering out from behind the wall. We made eye contact for a solid second before he hid behind the wall. I shut off the light and silently closed the door. I ran, not caring about how much noise I made. I was panicking. I connected the dots and realized that the man I saw was one of them that was chasing us earlier. I locked myself in the bathroom. Luckily, I had my phone on hand and dialed 911. Suddenly, I froze as I heard a crash from downstairs. I told the operator to send help ASAP, and that the men just broke in. She told me to stay on the line. I heard the men downstairs rummaging and stomping. I heard one say, "Where's the kid?" I nearly had a panic attack as this sent chills down my spine. The lady on the other end said that she had some officers en route and to just stay into the bathroom no matter what. I took a sharp pair of scissors in the bathroom as a weapon and waited. Leaning against the door, I then heard the men walking up the stairs. I covered my mouth with my hand and muffled my breathing. I heard the opening and closing of doors and drawers. Then one of them just stopped, outside, the bathroom door, and didn't move. Then they tried to fiddle with the doorknob until it didn't open. Then they kicked and banged at the door. I was silently crying at this point, scissors in hand, just praying that it would stop. The operator heard the noises and told me to stay calm. Suddenly I heard sirens, which was music to my ears. "Crap, we need to go now," one of the men shouted. I heard them scramble downstairs. I told the woman that the police were here, and she said to stay calm and keep myself locked in the bathroom. I heard shouting, one man saying, "Police, drop your weapons, put your hands in the air." I then heard 4 gunshots, and a lot of shouting. One of the men came upstairs to the door and told me to open up. I unlocked the door and practically hugged the guy. I went outside to see 3 cop cars parked in the street. I saw 3 of the 4 men, one of them bleeding. Apparently one of them had charged at one of the officers, who luckily had his gun with him, and shot the man 4 times. The 3 men were taken to jail and sentenced for robbery, breaking and entering, and more crimes. They are still in jail, and the police who was attacked was okay and wasn't injured. The guy who got shot survived as well. The one who yelled at us and seemed to be the leader was the one that they never found. Sometimes I wonder how he got away. Why wasn't he caught? Where is he? I still have a lot of questions from the night. I told all my friends the story and word spread fast. I wonder if those men had anything to do with the empty house we tried to prank. I don't know, but frankly I don't care. I'm just happy those guys got arrested. However, one last part, and what I think is the scariest, is one night I looked out to the old abandoned house a few doors down. I saw a figure looking at me. It was a black silhouette. Then it retreated. I don't know who it was, or if it was the missing guy, or if they had anything to do with any of that for that matter. I'm just worried. What if they were in that house I ding-dong ditched? Why was whoever that was in that house? I didn't call the police because I didn't know what to tell them. I still fear that one night I would turn on the back porch light and see the man standing there, half behind the wall, staring at me. One thing is for sure, though. I am never going ding-dong ditching, and neither will my friends for that matter, ever again. Story 2. My name is Brandon, and this is by far the creepiest thing that would ever happen to me. One day, I was finishing swim practice and I was tired. I don't like swimming at all, but my parents forced me to do it because I'm a bit overweight. At the end of practice, the other kids were being picked up by their mom or dad and going home. I was the last one there, which almost never happens. I called my mom and asked what was taking them so long. She said she was held up at work and my dad was at a doctor's appointment. She said I should just walk home. I did not like that idea at all, because like I said, I'm not in the best shape. I walked the 3 miles home, however, despite all this, and when I got there, I was exhausted from all the walking and swimming. I hopped in the shower, as I don't like showering in public. Afterwards, I ate a snack, did my homework, then took a nap. It was a Friday, so I was excited to just relax and do whatever I wanted the next day. I woke up to it being dark in my room. I turned on the lamp and saw that it was nighttime out my window. I groggily got out of bed and went downstairs. "Mom," I called. No answer. "Dad," I called again. Still no answer. I went back upstairs and noticed I got a few texts from my mom. I had been asleep for about 2 hours. My mom said that she was coming home late and she was still caught up at work. I called my dad and he said he got called into work and wouldn't come home till 1 a.m. This meant I had the whole house to myself. I was pumped considering I could pretty much do whatever I wanted. I played Halo 5 on my Xbox till I got bored of it. Then I watched a movie. After that, I really didn't have anything to do. It was about 10:30 now, so I figured I would just go to sleep. Even though I took a nap, I was still tired. Yeah, swimming is exhausting. I brushed my teeth and went to bed. I left the front door unlocked because I knew my parents would be coming home soon in a few hours. I fell asleep. Fast forward to about 30 minutes later, I awoke and felt chilly. I was noticeably colder in the room than before. I got out of bed and walked outside the room because I had to go to the bathroom. I heard footsteps in the attic above. I noticed the front door was open. My parents would never do this, as they would hate having flies and cold air blow in. It was particularly colder this night. "Mom," I called once again. The footsteps above me quickly stopped. Then I heard what sounded like a creaking noise. Who was up in the attic? Dad? Mom? What are you doing? Silence now. This was getting pretty weird, but I couldn't think straight as I was still in my half-asleep state. I went downstairs to the bathroom as the toilet upstairs was broken at the time. Sitting on the toilet, I was playing games on my phone when I heard the familiar creak of the attic door opening. I finished my business and went back upstairs. Suddenly the reality sank in that whoever was up there was not my mom or dad. It may have been a robbery trying to be quiet because they thought they were alone. Let me just say, they were not doing a good job. I grabbed a kitchen knife and started heading upstairs. I reached the top step and walked down the hallway to the right into another hallway and froze. There, even in the darkness, I could see a figure. A tall man. Too tall to be my mom. At this point, it was pretty obvious that it wasn't my dad either. I could see whoever it was thankfully facing the other way. He turned and we made eye contact for like 2 seconds. I did not recognize him. The adrenaline kicked in and I booked down the stairs. I ran outside on my bare feet with my phone in hand. I ran to my neighbor's and rang the doorbell like 6 times. A man answered in a tired and groggy voice, and he opened his door. I said it was an emergency, I needed to go inside now. He let me in and I called the police on my phone and told them everything. I hung up and explained it to my neighbor. Him and his wife felt bad and offered to let me stay the night. 15 minutes later, the police came. There were 2 of them. They searched the whole house up and bottom. I showed them all the possible places where the man could be hiding. They still found nothing. They searched the attic and found several bottles of water, old food, a bucket, and a makeshift bed in the corner. We rarely used the attic, but it looked like someone had been living up there for some time without us knowing. My parents came home and they both hugged me. I gave the best description of the man to the cops, but it didn't do much good. They left and I declined my neighbor's offer to stay home, as my parents would be home. A lot of personal valuable items were gone from the attic and around the house. My Xbox and like half my video games were stolen. This sucked, but eventually my Xbox and most of our stuff got replaced. As far as I know, the guy never got caught and we never saw him again. It worries me that sick people like that are still out there roaming the world, waiting for people like my family to let our guard down. Story number 3. This story took place about 8 years ago, but it still gives me chills. To start off, I was 12 at the time. Both my parents were at work, and my brother was at a friend's house, so I was home alone for the night. I started my night off by playing Xbox. Afterwards, I took a shower, ate, then kind of just sat around not doing anything. I also had my dog with me. His name is Joseph, and he's a mixed breed. Anyway, I was lying in my bed and texting some of my friends when I noticed Joseph perked up at the edge of my bed. I asked him in a playful voice, "What is it, boy?" Suddenly he jumped off my bed and ran down the stairs. I followed him till he was at the basement door. Suddenly I heard him bark. I froze in fear, wondering what he could be barking at. One possibility was that an animal got in and I didn't know. But one thing was for sure, I sure as heck wasn't going down there. Then I thought my parents would yell at me if they found out that an animal got in and that I knew and that I didn't do anything about it. Suddenly I heard a chilling sound, a loud bang echoing from the basement, which could be heard from anywhere. Joseph just lost at this point, and he was practically clawing at the door. I opened the basement door and Joseph took off down the stairs, barking like a maniac. I heard a crash followed by a scream, then a gunshot. Then I heard Joseph whimpering in pain, and then I heard rapid footsteps. I heard the basement door open and saw a man walking outside the basement steps onto the backyard. The way my house is set up, you go out the basement door, up a staircase outside, and then you're in the backyard. I looked from a window in horror. Then I did something out of instinct. Looking back, this was the stupidest thing I could have done. I turned on the back porch light. The man turned, and then he aimed a gun at me. I ran behind the couch and ducked, and I heard 3 loud gunshots. This is where things got real. I heard shouting from a neighbor, then I heard the man shoot something. Then I heard my neighbor shoot with another gun. Then the man broke out in screaming, in pain and agony, and then I heard the neighbor shriek that he was calling the police. He did, and about 10 minutes later, Police were all over the yard. They apprehended the man who broke in and arrested him. The whole house turned into a crime scene. Turns out the man shot at my neighbor. Luckily, the neighbor dodged it and fired rounds from a rifle, which hit the robber, causing him to fall down and scream. My parents found out quickly and pressed charges on the man. They won, of course. No charges were pressed against my neighbor for shooting the man, as the man shot first, and it was considered self-defense. The first gunshot I heard in the basement was when the man shot Joseph. This is why he screamed. Luckily, the shot was non-fatal, and he survived without any lasting conditions. This remains scary, even though I didn't see a lot of it. I hope that man stays in jail forever. I am grateful that I have such an amazing dog and such a great and defensive neighbor. If it wasn't for either one of these two, this night might have gone very differently.